All right, little bit of late night action on a Friday night. Welcome in, boys and girls. Going to talk a little bit about the NFL Combine, some rumors that have come up, thoughts on performances so far, where the Jets could go, some guys that the Jets have met with, and all the rumblings from the NFL Combine. So much fun this time of year. It's really like, not the kickoff, because I guess the kickoff for me is kind of like the Senior Bowl. But for a lot of people, this is when they start paying attention to draft time. You start figuring out the prospects you like. You're looking at 40 times, looking at measurables, hand sizes. Man, had a blazing fast, 4.3 today. Crazy stuff. See you guys in the chat. What's up, Daniel? Aaron? Todd? Jay? Wimmy? Jerome? We'll jump right off the bat. How about Nick Emma1? I'm going to jack up that name a whole bunch of times. Safety. Dude jumped out of the gym, 43-inch vertical. 43-inch vertical. Crazy high if you hadn't seen that video. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I want to look at everything broken down after through the weekend. We got through Sunday for everything to come in. Kind of take a look at the highs and lows of everyone, where everyone shakes out. There's going to be some risers and fallers from this. How do the guys that are not testing, how does that impact draft stock? Ted McMillan, a top receiver in this class, not doing the 40-yard dash. I think it's probably a smart move. Yeah, we'll get into all that. So yeah, Ted McMillan's someone I really want to see, but I understand him not doing the 40. I was talking to Dom about this the other day. Doesn't believe that Ted would test well in the 40. His on-field speed is much faster than what the clock time might be. And when you're that high of a touted prospect, there's no reason to hurt your stock. Same reason quarterbacks don't throw when they're expected to go very high. So yeah, things all the way around the board that are interesting with the whole workout stuff. Can Ward trade up for us? Can the Jets trade up for Ward, or can Ward trade up for us? Trade down? Can he trade himself down to us? That would be kind of nice. Yeah, if you heard the comments from Cam Ward today, how he says the Jets are just a few pieces away and he'd love to be a part of it, or he'd like to be a part of it, or thought that maybe he could be a piece of it. Kind of gets me excited. At least, he's saying the right things. I don't know how much of it's, different from any other team. If they ask him hey, what if you want to be a Saint or a Raider or whatever, I think the answer is probably relatively similar. But it's interesting. Gets me excited. Other quarterback news going around. Shouldn't say news. Well, I guess news. Stafford's going to resign, or has resigned with the Rams. He's off the market. Not that he was going to necessarily be an option for the Jets, but now we heard rumors that Aaron Rodgers was talking to the Giants, and now the Giants are probably definitely going to be considering him, and all my Giant fan friends are pulling their hair out. I don't think I've met a Giant fan friend that is interested in having Aaron Rodgers on their team. And maybe that's just because they're so anti-Rodgers for being sort of anti-Jets, and they've just kind of stuck themselves in that mold. Or maybe they're just totally tapped out on it. I don't really know. But wild circumstance. I don't really want to see him on the Giants. Kind of just hope he retires, to be honest. Ty Perk, what's up, dude? Ed, is Cam Ward a reality? Hey, look, it's possible. If there's one thing this ownership group really likes to do, it's get a rookie head coach, a rookie GM, and a rookie quarterback. I'm not going to get upset if they go up for him. It's not what I would like to see happen, I'll be honest. I would kind of rather roll the dice on another quarterback in free agency, continue to stock the cupboard this year, and try to go after a quarterback in next year's draft. But you can't win anything if you don't have a quarterback, right? So If you find yourself in a position to get one you like, go do it. Zachary says Tyler Warren is that guy. Man, he's really good. He just talks ball, and I really like watching him, listening to him. Again, I don't particularly want him to be the pick at 7, but I won't be upset if he is. My favorite part about Tyler Warren being the pick at 7, if that's what it winds up being, is going to be the nuclear explosion. Is anyone who wanted Bowers last year? I thought Bowers was going to be the pick, but I don't know. Wouldn't shock me whichever way they go. Cashmere. Do the Jets have enough cap to sign an elite player? Yes, they will. They'll. It's going to be a little weird because they're going to June 1st cut Rodgers, so they're not going to get that money till like June 2nd. Same thing might happen with Lazard. Devontae's going to get cut. You're going to wind up having about 55. I think 55 was the number. 50, call it 50 some odd $1 million. So you're going to be able to sign someone, right? And realistically, whatever deal that person signs, if it's an elite player, you're expecting a multi-year deal. So the numbers are going to be smaller in the first year and get bigger as they go on throughout each year. So, let's say we go after a safety. That safety is going to cost us $15 to $20 million, somewhere in that ballpark. Call it 15. That first year cap hit might only be like a $5 million cap hit. So we'll have plenty to sign players. I'm not too concerned about this. Cam Ward is only coming here if he reaches to 5 or 7. I think he goes 1. I don't really want to see us trade all the way up to 1 to get him either. Early prediction is that on what route the Jets take in the draft as of right now. I've been on the Ted McMillan train this whole time. I'd like to see Ted happen. I have people who watch the draft that are like, there's no way, like he's not, he's a little bit of fool's gold. When I watch him, I see a guy that's just like sticky hands, super tall, and like deceptively fast. And he seems like a good dude from like interviews I've watched. So Ted McMillan's the guy I want. I think receiver is going to be a major problem for the Jets. If you don't go that route, look, I'm okay with a lot of different directions. If they want to go Mike Green at edge rusher, if they want to go Malachi Starks at safety, if they want to go, I don't know if I necessarily want to go corner right now, but yeah, there's a whole lot of things. A lot of different directions they could go. Mason Graham might slide a little bit to 7. A lot of Jet fans would like to see him paired up with Quinnen Williams. They kind of I don't want to say double dip, but they sort of play the same position. So I'd understand if some guys don't want to go that route. It's wild. So many different potential outcomes here. I don't know if you guys saw this. Sauce talking about the 5th-year options. We talked about how there's 4 different levels of 5th-year options. This is something that I bring up all the time. Garrett Wilson is going to hit the playing time threshold, so he gets the 2nd level 5th-year option, which I believe is like $15 million, if I'm not mistaken, or $14 million. I want to say it's 15. Sauce gets the 2 Pro Bowl option, which is like the highest option. It's going to be at $20 million, and Jermaine Johnson doesn't get any of the incentives. He just gets like the basic 5th-year option, which I think is like $13.2 or $13.4 million. Samini says he does expect the Jets to exercise all 3 of those, which makes a lot of sense to me because if you were to try and sign an edge rusher after the season, it's going to cost you way more than $13 million. So keep the guy in-house for that price. Garrett and Sauce are no-brainer 5th-year options to me, and then it's just a matter of if you're going to give them a contract at this particular point in time. I'd love to see a contract for both Sauce and Jermaine, Sauce and Garrett. I'd let Jermaine kind of play out his contract right now. As far as Sauce, like, oh man, $20 million is not enough. For the position he's playing and like the other 5th-year options, I can understand why he might feel that way. I don't think he's ever going to see his 5th-year option. I think he's going to wind up getting extended, if not this offseason, next offseason. And I think he'll wind up getting $25 to potentially $30 million a year is what it'll end up looking like, especially if the cap continues to go up and up and up and up. I'd like to sign him and Garrett now because I think you lock yourself into a lower rate. Not to mention you have that little bit of negotiating power with like, hey, look, we'll give you the year early. We'll give you a contract a year early, the extra money, but it has to be on some degree of favorable terms towards the Jets, whether that's, maybe a lower signing bonus, so that way you can have more guaranteed money later on, or if you have a slightly lower guarantee with a higher signing bonus, but we get the benefit of working out that deal earlier. You don't want to forego I think with Muji, the tough thing for him is going to be trying to balance that level of, do you give first round picks their new contract after 3 years all the time? Because then you got to think Olu's going to ask for it, Will McDonald's going to ask for it. It kind of creates a little bit of a snowball effect. If you set the precedent for the 4-year, then maybe that's kind of where other players fall in line. I'd like to see the incentive structure laid out. Like, hey, look, you're going to play like a top guy. We're going to pay you like a top guy. We'll see. Curious to see how they handle that. Cashmere out of Hall, Johnson, Sauce, Wilson. Who goes? I hope none of them. I'll be honest. There's going to be so much cap space. There's no reason you have to get rid of any of the guys, especially now that you're not paying Rodgers and Devontae. Like, there's going to be a lot of money to go around. I think Hall is the most likely to end up leaving, but I think all these guys are here for the next 2 years. I think this season and next season. I think Hall gets the franchise tag. I think everyone else gets the 5th-year option. So I think we've got some time before we wind up losing any of those guys. Mud Vials, Ryan, you do whatever you can to trade up and get Cam Ward. Re-sign G5. Who do you think we get at wide receiver 2 and cornerback 2? I don't want to do whatever I can to get up to Cam Ward. I would explore it. I think it's worth the phone call to see what that price point would look like. I'll be honest, I really don't want to give up the 2026 first round pick because I think that has the potential to be a very, very high pick in a very good draft. So for me, I'd rather take a quarterback that falls to us at 7 or the best player available and roll the dice on a quarterback a little bit later. I like a lot of the mid-round guys, which unfortunately is not like the thing that is probably sexy for the owner, but I'd like to do that. Want to re-sign Garrett? Absolutely. I like what Rosenblatt was saying. I think $30 million a year for Garrett makes a ton of sense. 4 years, 120, get it done, do it tomorrow. As far as wide receiver 2 and cornerback 2, I mean, I'd like to see Eccles come back, cornerback 2. Wide receiver 2, I don't know. I don't know if wide receiver 2's on the roster. It'd be really interesting if no one wanted Rodgers and Devontae reworked his deal and we got like Derek Carr or something like that. That would be kind of interesting to see play out. As far as like wide receiver 2 though, I don't know. Who's the guy that was on Detroit that was on Denver? Patrick? Is it Tim Patrick? Is that the right name? I don't really want him as wide receiver 2, but I'd like to see him added to the receiver room. And then, yeah, Eccles would be my other one, I think. Braisley, who are your top 6 non-quarterbacks in the draft? If none of them are available at 7, do you take quarterback or a position player? Does it matter which quarterback? So if one of the top quarterbacks falls to us, call it the top 2. If somehow, Dart rises up crazy high or Milrow raises up crazy high and you want to take him at 7, I'm not going to get upset with it because I understand, the rationale. But for me personally, the guys at the top of my list, I think Abdul Carter's a freak. I very much want. I'd be pumped with him. Tet McMillan. I'd be fine with Mason Graham. Travis Hunter, obviously. After that, because then you're starting to talk like non-quarterbacks. Malachi Starks and Mike Green. Mike Green's a really exciting player. Really bendy edge rusher. I know we just spent 2 first-round picks on edge rushers in like the last 3 years, but if one of those guys can play linebacker and you can move Mike Green into there, I wouldn't be upset with that either. What's up, Jets Ward? What's up, Brian? Big fan of Trey Amos. I think the kid would pair well with Sauce as our starting cornerback. What are his metrics? I haven't actually watched him. I know Dom really likes him a lot. Is he second round guy? Is that what they've been talking about? Six 190. 4.43. Man, that's quick. Fast, dude. My stance, if Dom likes him, I like him. That's where that kind of comes in. Am I the only one annoyed that a bunch of top tight ends didn't work out? Scared to run the 40, scared of competition. There's so many good tight ends in this class. And to me, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily care what the tight ends do. If they find space, if they can catch, if they can block, that's kind of more what I care about. I feel like the combine's more for like specific metrics. And I don't know if there's a specific metric for a tight end that I'm aware of that would be like, oh, that's a bad thing for him, or that's a good trait to have. Like with quarterbacks, you can kind of identify maybe some height things. Hand size is really important. With offensive linemen, you're looking at arm length and wingspan. The cornerbacks, you're looking at the shuttle or the cone drill, 3-cone, the 40-yard dash, 10-yard splits, like that sort of thing. I don't think there's that necessarily for the tight ends, or if there is, maybe I'm just overlooking it. Ty says, wouldn't be mad with Cam or Shador. Not sure I'm too interested in trading up for it, though. I'm not really sure how I feel about anything in this draft. Yeah, I just want best player available. That's sort of where I've kind of landed this whole time. Tet, for me, I feel like hits a need, because outside Garrett Wilson, we don't have anyone. And maybe something happens in free agency where you feel a little bit better about wide receiver 2, but I like the idea of stocking the cupboard with as much offensive firepower and young offensive firepower. Like, if you want to go Tyler Warren, if you want to go Tet McMillan, if you want to go, a tight end in the second round or whatever, I think having it set up for whoever the quarterback is, whether it be this year or next year, is critical. That would be where I'd like to go. Rumor at the combine is scouts are scared that Tet will run 4.6 plus if he ran the 40 tomorrow. Yeah, that's sort of what Dom was saying. Dom didn't think he was going to test well from a speed perspective, and that's all right. Tony, y'all think it's possible Giants trade for him like how we did with the Packers? No, I think we're going to cut Rodgers and Devontae, and he'll ultimately just go wherever he wants. I don't think we're going to be able to trade him. Get Cam and Arroyo. Yeah, that would be a fun little pairing, right? College guys come back together over here. Ryan, a little bit early, but any news on hosting a draft party? So we're definitely going to be doing our draft stream. I don't know if we're going to be doing a draft party in person. With me with the 2 kids and Green Bean with the new gig he's doing, it might be a little bit tough. It might just be one of those situations this year where we have to not do the in-person thing. But we'll, as we get closer, we'll kind of make more of a definitive decision on that. 2 needs filled and chemistry already built in. Talking about Cam and Arroyo. Yeah, the nice thing about tight end is you kind of get like a blocker too, and you get a receiver. Like that was sort of the argument with like Bowers last year, even though he's a little bit more of a receiver than anything else. Jacob asking as well, I second that. Any plans for an in-person draft party? We'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Right now, I feel like we'll probably do the like over the internet stream. But we'll see. I'm open to the ideas. Billy said, I'll be so glad when this draft is over and we haven't taken a quarterback in any round. I don't want to not take a quarterback. I don't particularly want to use one in the first round, but I would say like 4th round, 3rd, 4th round is sort of where I'd like to land. I keep finding my way back to Kyle McCord. I'd like to find a way to get him. J-Boy! Ryan, you're up late. Your late night Jets talk. Keep it up. Yeah, well, I started doing it a little bit later because the kids are in bed. I got to hang out with the wife, and it gives me a little bit more free time to kind of like talk to you guys and decompress, read a few things on the internet. Man, my work days have been like crazy, so I haven't really had the opportunity to pump out the shorter form content that I really like doing. So this is a nice little release here at the middle of the night. Scouts, GM and scouts think Ward Sanders are mid to late first round picks. I mean, look, if one of them falls to the Jets, I fully endorse the Jets using a pick on it. I don't, it doesn't bother me at all. I feel weird not having like a definitive, like, oh, I really like gung-ho this position. Sorry. Or like this player. Usually I'm like pretty locked in. Like last year, it was definitely tackle or tight end. One of those two was like where I wanted to go. With this class, I think best player available. I think a lot of it has to do with where our team currently is right now, and like just get me the best football player is more where I'm at. Nothing's going to help your team more than a good quarterback, though. I mean, look at the turnaround that Washington had. Just got to get it right. Don't take a quarterback, just take a quarterback. Do you think the Jets should reach out to the Browns for Myles Garrett, and would you trade a first pick? I don't think we should reach out to Myles Garrett. Like, I'd rather just take a crazy good edge rusher that's drafted in the first round for 5 years. Like, to me, you're going to have what? Myles Garrett for 4 years, maybe, at like $20 to $30 million a year. Like, that's a crazy ton of money. And giving up a pick, like, I don't want to do that. Let someone else do it. We're not really in that position. Carr's not leaving New Orleans. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like there could be like the potential of a surprise cut. I would seem to think, put it this way, I would not be putting any money on Carr coming here. It would be very, very surprising to see that. JD, what happens if Glenn is a good coach and we win more games than we expect? It might cost us more to move up next year. There's no guarantee we will have a high pick next year. No, that's fine. So that's kind of always been my stance. I want to win as many games as possible in 2025. And I'm cool with trading additional picks later on to go up and get your quarterback in 2026. That's been my stance for a while now. There's going to be more quarterbacks in next year's class. Maybe we win more games. Like, I don't know if you see us more of like, do you see us winning 8 games next year? That feels like it might be a little bit high, depending on who our quarterback is and the outlook of our schedule. The schedule looks like it's going to be pretty tough. So if we get to 8, can you get up to a top 5 pick? I think it's possible. I was talking about Tim Patrick, more of a 3. If you don't get a quarterback at 7, would love to see the wide receiver from Arizona State. That's McMillan. And Garrett would be deadly for whoever is at quarterback. Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. Tim Patrick, I'm not saying is a wide receiver too. I just think that would be like a free agent wide receiver you could go after that would be pretty cheap. Probably more a wide receiver 4. I would hope Corley would see the field a little bit more. Do you prefer DJ Reed as a corner number 2 or Ward from the 49ers? I really like Reed. I'd love to see him stay here. I think he's earned himself a big payday. I don't know if cornerback's the position I really want to invest a crazy ton of money in. Like, I'm kind of all right with seeing Stiggers for a year. I'd love to bring back Eccles. I think the edge rush is so much more important than the cornerback position, at least for the defense we were playing the last few years. We saw it play out with the Eagles when both Reed and Sauce were out with injury. So I would lean more on the edge rusher side of finances than the corner side right now. Aaron, how will the draft change now that Stafford is back with the Rams? Does that mean the Jets would have to trade up for Cam? Yeah, I mean, I think Cam's going 1. I really do. I think the Titans are planning to take Cam. I think Abdul Carter goes 2. I think Shador goes 3. I think Hunter goes 4. And then 5, maybe Mason Graham. And then 6 is either going to be Will Johnson or McMillan, I think. I'm going to stick to my guns on this. Isaiah, them looking makes me think that Travis was probably a fail, especially because Travis hasn't been showing the Jets too much Jet stuff on Instagram. Well, it's a different regime that drafted him. And he also hasn't played in 2 years. Like there's nothing that Jordan Travis could have shown me between training camp and now, based on his injury and how much you were able to see from him, let alone a new coaching staff coming in, that would deter me from doing my homework on the quarterback position. So regardless of what you had, I think you should be doing your homework on the quarterbacks. So I don't think that's any indication on Travis. If they like a quarterback, they'll go get him. Is there better value 2 to 5 this year and not the best first round? But there is better value rounds 2 through 5 this year and not in the first round. Yeah, once you get outside of like the top maybe 10 picks or so, maybe even earlier than that, there's a lot of like from our pick to our second pick, a lot of guys could be very similar, very sort of similar tier, if you will. I think there's a lot of not ambiguity, but a lot of variety in how players are going to be ranked in this first round. And I would rather hold picks for 2026 than anything else. Drake London didn't run at his pro day. If I remember correctly, Tet is a superior player to him. I don't know. I hope so. I like Tet. I like him a lot. I think from a player like a prospect standpoint, I'm pretty sure Drake London was pretty high up there. Didn't he have like a crazy good contested catch rate and stuff? I'm trying to remember. I mean, I remember the draft, and he obviously went before Garrett, but like, I don't know if that class was so loaded and he was at the top of it. I feel like McMillan is almost at the top of this class because it's not because it's so weak, but there's not a whole lot of competition. Like if he came out last year, you're probably talking at least the 4th wide receiver. I mean, you got to think Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Odunze, and Brian Thomas Jr. would all be ahead of him. So, and I think Drake London was a pretty good prospect coming out. Arroyo has injury issues. Yeah, that was kind of his knock. I still like the kid from Bowling Green a lot. Fannin Jr. A lot of good tight ends this year, though. Bowers exceeded expectations last year. I mean, he did kind of exactly how I thought he would do. Yeah, there's a reason why he was like the best tight end we've seen in college football. And then he just kind of continued doing it at the next level. Now, granted, a lot of his catches were in the 4th quarter, so some of it's like some garbage time cleanup stuff. But, I mean, he's a stud. He's so fast. Jets fan really wants Will Howard. I like Will Howard. I like Kyle McCord. Those are probably the 2 mid-round guys that I'd like to see them take a swing on. You have to give Ryan enough money so he can quit his job. Look, I thoroughly enjoyed doing the Jet stuff, but 2 kids going through daycare and a mortgage is not cheap. It's expensive. So gotta take care of the family first, and then the Jet stuff kind of falls into place. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do all right. I make a little bit of money from this stuff, but it's more the passion of it that keeps me going than anything else. It'd be awesome to be able to like do this and not worry about stuff. Just maybe after daycare when the kids are in the public school. Nathan, how would you feel if we took Johnson from Michigan? I think he's a really good player. I think a lot of people don't want to take him because he's corner, and he also had was it a foot injury or an ankle injury this year? I'm not concerned with the injury really. I don't think he's going to be like a D. Milner. If you did take him, it's just a lot of money invested in the corner. Not a lot of money and a lot of draft assets invested into the corner position, and I think edge rusher is more important than corner right now, which in my mind, saying this out loud probably does not bode well for like Sauce negotiations at some point, but I'd rather invest a lot of money into Sauce and our like edge rushers than both corners and have to decide between one of those guys leaving at some point. Will Howard or Jalen Milroe? There's like a part of me that would love to see Jalen Milroe. Like the 8.5-inch hands scare the shit out of me. He's not accurate, but man, dude is a beast. Just bully people. He's so fast. Dylan, realistically, why do you think we are going to pick not... Realistically, who do you think we are going to pick, not who do you want? I'm still going to stick with Tet McMillan. I think that makes a lot of sense from like what we really need and what's available on the free agent market and how we're going to build this team. Like I really think it's going to be Tet. I think that's the direction they go. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. They could go any different direction, but that would be where I'd put my eggs, I think. Jet Ward, trade back and get Igbokwe. That'd be cool. I'm down with that. Second round, Amos. Third, take Fannin. Fourth, take Howard. That's a solid draft plan. I wouldn't, if you could guarantee me that selections, I would do that. What would you get in the trade down? Would you get another second or maybe a next year's first or something? If you get a next year's first, I would totally do that. I'm down on trading down. Down in the good way. Howard won't be there in the fourth. I think a lot of those guys are going to go in the third. Oh, Mr. Jetskis. Love the show. Thank you, dude. I love you. Matt O'Leary Stan. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but that's pretty funny. I feel like the pick has to be wide receiver. Spending big bucks on wide receiver 2 in free agency when you need to extend Garrett Wilson soon is crazy. Yes, that's where I fall as well. Make this call in. Yeah, I could do that. Is Nightbot dropping the link? Yeah, Nightbot is dropping the link. I could also pin the link in there too. Let me, we could do some call-ins. Why not? Get some thoughts. I'm sure there's things that I haven't looked into that you guys can talk to me and tell me about. I am totally down with hearing what you guys have to say. I haven't had a call-in show in a little bit because we've been doing the Monday Night Mocks with myself and Tigo and Dom. So we'll go through that. Let's see. Pull this off. All right. Call-in numbers pinned in the live chat if you do want to call in. Before we do that, though, I should acknowledge a sponsor of the channel, and that is Via. Let's be real. 2025 has been all about change. Whether it's work, personal stuff, or just daily grind, it can be hard to keep up. But here's the deal. When things get hectic, we don't have to go through it alone. Embrace the power of nature and elevate your everyday with Via. Trusted by over 500,000 happy customers, Via is a Swiss Army knife of wellness dedicated to harnessing the natural benefits of hemp to create high-quality wellness products. Whether you're looking to improve your sleep, focus, recovery, add a little pep to your step, or just get high, Via has something for you. With products ranging from 0 to 100 milligrams of THC, Via gives you the power to blaze your own trail. Via is well-renowned for award-winning THC and THC-free gummies, THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part, Via legally ships to nearly all states in the United States in discreet packaging directly to your door with worry-free guarantee. No medical card required. So if you're 21 or over, check out the link in the description to Via's website. Use code JETSTALK for 15% off, free shipping on orders over $100, and you're new to Via. Get a free gift of your choice. Head over there. They got some good gummies. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't forget to use promo code Talkin' Jets. Not Chalk and Jets. Jets Talk. Down in the description. Click the link. Boys and girls. Call-in number is on the screen if you would like to call in. If not, I will talk to the chat. I'm totally down with that. Nick, let's chat, my friend. I miss our therapy sessions. Link's there. Ty, it's just the confidence and poise that Cam and Shedeur show that makes me think they'd be able to lead. Shedeur had shit O-line play and still was productive and precise amid the pressure he faced. Shedeur is the one. Man, confidence is so key at the quarterback position. I worry about like the circus, but at the same time, we're just kind of the Jets, and I'm sort of team entertain me anyway. I just find it hard for me to get worked up one way or the other on it. Like, I'm either going to be like, damn it, this didn't work out. And of course it didn't work out because we're the Jets. Or like, screw it. Maybe it's going to work out and you got to roll the dice. It's just how things have to go. No matter how it happens, if the Jets do go quarterback, I really want Tyrod to start. And I want ideally, if you could have your rookie quarterback sit the entire year, I would probably prefer that. AJ says, Tony Pauline said, the Jets are most likely sticking with Tyrod and picking a quarterback in day 2. If that's the case, Will Howard's there and McCord, both guys, former Ohio State. Can't re-sign Reed and pay Sauce. No, yeah, well, that's just it. Like, Reed deserves to get paid elsewhere, and you want to re-sign Sauce and Garrett anyway. So I think this season's more about trying to retain your own guys. Like, if you can keep Sherwood, that'd be cool. You know, if you don't want to spend a crazy ton of money, you want to go Eccles, re-sign Garrett, keep that money in-house. The nice thing about the contracts for, like, Garrett and Sauce is when our big money gets freed up after June 1st, those guys are still locked in on contracts. So you can get them done in the summer. It doesn't have to get done right now. Rodney says, that's the same reason why we need to fall in love with a couple wide receivers in this draft. You can't give Garrett Wilson $30 million and pay a free agent wide receiver. Yes. Matt O'Leary stand makes perfect sense, and I align with his line of thinking. All right, let me see. Did I switch anything over here? I probably should have updated this stuff. I did not update this stuff since I last did this. So let's pull that up. We'll go get rid of Mr. Aaron. And let's see. Did I set this up correctly? I might have. Let's go over to Sonny. Let's see if I set it up. Sonny, what's up, dude?
Hey, Ryan. How are you, man?
Hanging in there. What are your thoughts on how the offseason is shaping up?
I mean, this is sort of our time of year. This is what most of the fans get hyped up for.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best time of the year for us. I mean, I'm open to a lot of different guys at 7, and I can't believe all the mocks. Like Mel Kiper has got Shedeur falling to us at 7. I'm curious what your thoughts would be on that. Let's say Shedeur does fall. I mean, I'm thinking you have to take the guy at 7.
If he's there at 7, I would endorse that pick. I really think he's going to go 6 to the Raiders. I think the Raiders are his floor. I would say the Giants and Raiders would be the 2 teams that are most likely to take him. But if he does fall to 7, I would take him if I were the Jets. I think that's a fine pick.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah, once I think Matthew Stafford went back to the Rams, you know, that's another spot that just got, filled up. So if he ends up with the Raiders or the Giants, maybe they don't go QB with the first pick. But I'd rather take best available at 7 if none of the quarterbacks are there, and then try to catch one of those guys later in the draft, 3rd or 4th round for the Ohio State quarterback. And
Mhm.
who was the other kid from Syracuse? I forget his name.
Kyle McCord. That's
McCord.
was from Ohio State, went over to Syracuse. Jet fan, grew up in Pennsylvania, had a number 6 Mark Sanchez jersey. Like
Nice.
kind of like
Nice.
it feels good. I would love the
Yeah.
story of it. He's not the athletic like mobile guy that I like kind of want, but
Right.
it looks good. Great
I'd be
stats.
happy with either of those guys later in the draft. The only thing I just don't want them to do is end up trading so many picks to move up to get one of those guys
Mhm.
when next year's class is obviously appears to be more promising than this year's quarterback class. So
Mhm.
that's probably the only scenario that I would be against
Mhm.
is them just trading away the farm for one of these QBs.
Yeah, I agree. I think of all the different scenarios, best player available, or taking a quarterback at 7, or taking a mid-round quarterback pick at 7, all fine with me. Trading up
Right.
to go get a quarterback, I don't
No
love it.
good.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
Do they got a second round pick this year or no?
We do, yeah. But then
We
after our
got a
second
second.
round pick, I forget what pick it is. It's like 43 or 46 or something. After that pick, we have the Lions third round pick. So it's like over a round until it's
Gotcha.
like a round and a half before we get to our next pick after that. So there's a big gap from pick 2 to pick 3.
Yeah, I hear you. Most of the quarterbacks might be gone by then.
I think third round you'll be able to find like maybe a Will Howard, maybe a Kyle McCord. But if you try to go to the fourth round, then I think you start really playing with fire at that point. I'd rather the
Yeah,
first 2 picks be like day 1 starters, as opposed to like a quarterback I hope sits for the year.
absolutely. Well, thanks for bringing me up, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Sonny, thank you so much for calling in. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Sonny, thank you so much for calling in. We've got Triple C coming in. Triple C, what's up, dude? Oh, hold on, you're muted.
What's going on, Ryan?
Nothing much. How you feeling tonight?
Spectacular, actually.
Nice, nice. What are your thoughts on the off season? Where things have gone so far, where you hope they go.
Okay, I heard you saying, we might get a quarterback in the 7th. Who do you think that might be though? Because I was leaning towards the quarterback from Miami,
Mm,
or was hoping that we actually did get a defensive end and hopefully a
mm,
receiver to back up Garrett Wilson.
mm,
I do think that we should try to move towards a safety like when we had Kerry Rhodes, because
mm.
we tend to hit the playoffs 80% of our times when we had a good safety.
So I really like safety. I love how you mentioned Kerry Rhodes because that was like the last really fun safety that I think I remember having. Then I mean, obviously Jamal was exciting for a little bit, but Rhodes was like a ball hawk. He was one of my favorites. That was
Yeah.
actually the first jersey I got. She was my girlfriend at the time, now my wife.
I remember.
But
I still remember the day when he knocked Bolden's jaw loose. Man,
dude, he was violent. I liked him. I would say if there's a quarterback at 7, like let's say Cam or Shador falls, I would take either one of them. It doesn't really, bother me one way or the
okay.
other. I do think Cam goes 1. I think Shador goes 3 or 6. So I don't think either one's actually going to be there for us. I don't really want to spend the 7th overall pick on Dart.
Right.
I like Tet McMillan a lot. I think wide receiver is our biggest need, or pass catcher in general. Like if you want to like convince me on Tyler Warren or a tight end as one of your top picks, I would understand that. I think there's just so many good tight ends in this class that I'd rather the tight end come in the 2nd or 3rd round
I
and have
still
the
think we
wide
should have
receiver.
gave Jason Morrow his chance, man.
No.
God, that was like, if you've seen his combine and his
Dude,
workouts,
it was so good. Jason Morrow was
was a
like the
jewel.
player that never was for us. Like I
I
remember
worked at
watching.
Texas Tech when he was over there
Yep.
with yeah, it was so fun watching.
You went to Texas Tech? Is that what you said?
No, I was working at Texas Tech at the moment.
Oh, that's badass. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember drafting him and just being like, man, this kid's gonna be something special, and like just nothing. Just never had the opportunity. Just like,
With Sam
man,
Darnold, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I really want to see. I want to see some weapons come in and help whoever our quarterback is. Like, is there a particular quarterback you'd like to see? Like, let's say Cam Ward and Shador are not options. Is there a free agent guy or maybe a different quarterback in this class that
I would say
you'd
that
like to see?
quarterback from Texas, man.
Ewers?
Yeah, that's where I thought we were going to lean towards. I don't know.
I don't think I mean, he'll be maybe second or third round. I think. I'm a little lukewarm on Ewers. I think for me, I wind up falling back into this Will Howard or like McCord landing spot. And then like the little curveball in me like really wants to see Milrow. Like we just watched Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl. Like why not roll the dice on a dude that's got like crazy stupid speed? Like he could break a touchdown like literally on any play. And like at least that would be entertaining. Really fast. I don't know if he could throw the ball, but it's like it's not.
I would like a Cam Ward though. I ain't gonna lie. Cam Ward would be nice. And
both quarterbacks.
Speaking of which, Tyrod would be the person that he would definitely learn from because they both have similar quality traits. So yeah, that'd be nice to see.
I think both quarterbacks, even Shador too, could learn from him because I think Shador, while he's athletic, he doesn't use his legs all the time, and I think Tyrod is sort of like tries to pass first more than anything else. Ward,
isn't Shador left-handed?
He is.
So
yes.
Tua will probably be a better teacher to him than Tyrod.
Forget that. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Get out. Yeah. Wow, you're out of here. Thanks for calling intricacy. Throwing me off. Got my boy Cameron in there. Let's get Cameron on. What's up, dude?
Oh, I think I'm frozen.
Can you hear me?
Someone's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen. I'm frozen. I don't know. He looked fine to me. All right. Try that again. Let's try it one more time. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going? It froze.
That's all right. What are your thoughts on the combine so far, and have your thoughts changed in the last few weeks?
Not really. As I've said to you before, I kind of went through all the different prospects and everything. My favorite guy, if we're not talking quarterbacks, is Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. He can do everything. He's got a real mean streak about him, which I like. I know people, say, well, he's kind of equal with Loveland or the guy out of Michigan. The problem with the guy out of Michigan is he's not a great blocker. He's kind of thin, and he's essentially a receiver playing tight end. And I don't think it translates well to the NFL unless you're going to spread him out wide a lot.
Warren does kind of hit. Warren kind of hits those two marks of like, kind of a blocker and kind of like a stud pass catcher. So like, two birds, one stone kind of philosophy.
Exactly. If the quarterbacks were to fall, I think you have to tailor an offense to either Ward or Shador. Shador, not for a runner, really accurate. Can certainly stand in there and take a shot because the offensive line at Colorado was terrible. Which I'm not sure he wants to come to New York and face the same thing. But
we'll be fine. We got a halfway decent O-line. We just need a right tackle.
That's true. Ward, I've watched a lot of film on him. My main problem is he's very nonchalant in most everything he does. He has a very, I'm going to make it happen no matter what, even in situations where it's like, no, just give up, fight for the, take the down and just come back to it the next play. And I feel like the risk reward may not play as well in the NFL like it did against FIU or whoever it was he was playing at Miami that day.
I like that McCord beat Ward. Like there's little things about the mid-round guys that like intrigue me. Where like I'd rather I think gamble on some of the non-quarterback positional players at the top of the draft and then go towards,
I would go for Jackson Dart. I've been watching a lot of him.
He's exciting.
Howitzer for an arm, looks pretty accurate. There's certainly some development there you can do with him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's the mobile aspect of him. He's pretty gutsy. You know, he's flying up boards. I mean, you were talking about him probably like second, third round, like
Right.
I don't know, 3 months ago. And then like it's like, okay, I think he's definitely going in the first round. I think Milroe definitely goes in the first round.
Oh yeah. That
And
might be a little
then-
high for Milroe, but
I think
given
it is. I think
given
his
what
testing is
quarterbacks
just
are
gonna look
worth
so.
these days, probably.
He's also like he's built like a Sherman tank. Like dude's and he's crazy fast. Like I think the Steelers could roll the dice on him like later in the first round. Like I could see that.
I could see that. Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, we tried the Justin Fields, we tried the Russell Wilson, we always get burnt by Lamar Jackson. Like, let's get our Lamar, like crazy speed, and see how that plays out. Cameron, any last words before I eject you?
No, that's it. As always, have a good night, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Peace, Cameron. You've been ejected from the cockpit. We got Joe. Let's head over to Joe. How you doing, Joe?
Good. Sorry, it's a little dark. I'm driving.
That is all right. Keep your eyes on the road.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. You know, I'm watching a little bit of the clips and the highlights from the combine, trying to soak in all the different prospects, and I really have no like concrete way I want the Jets to go. I think just best player available is where I like land on 95% of my thought process for this draft.
I 100% agree. I had a solution to fix the Jets, or an idea of it before the whole Aaron Rodgers talk. But I really thought that the Jets could maybe, obviously it's not going to happen anymore, but I was thinking keep Devontae, keep Aaron, get Hall, or keep Hall, and then we can get Tyler Warren. And then I was thinking they would trade for another receiver, but I really like the idea of maybe trying to get McMillan and then maybe see if the Falcons want to shop Pitts for like a third or a fourth.
I've seen the Pitts rumors around. I don't know if Pitts is like the guy I really want to like throw a draft pick at. I would be down with Tyler Warren. I mean, obviously the whole Devontae Rodgers thing isn't happening anymore. I mean, there was definitely a route. Like if the Jets were like, hey, we're bringing back Aaron, it'd be like, okay, like I understand this. Like you're going to try and win as much as you can. I think the ripping off of the Band-Aid and just sort of trying to reset everything now is probably the
I agree. I agree with the decision making with what I trust Aaron. I mean, Aaron Glenn. At first, I was kind of hesitant, but after talking to him or hearing him talk this week, I really liked his demeanor. I think he is going to be. You know, we thought Robert Saleh was going to command the locker room, and obviously that did not work. I feel like Aaron Glenn will back up what he says.
There's a Parcellian feel to him.
Yeah, and so my thinking with the Pitts is, and I agree with you when it comes to like, do I really want to take a gamble on somebody like that? And even before I heard it was a rumor, I still think I think Dustin Keller with Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez wasn't, in my opinion, a good quarterback. The defense carried him to the playoffs. But if you're going to go get somebody young like a Justin Fields, having a security blanket, I think is better than not having anybody there. And Pitts can still get open, and I think the Falcons underutilize him, in my personal opinion. So, I don't know. I just think that if we're going to go the Fields route or even a rookie quarterback, you're going to want a stable tight end, and I think wide receiver is more important to grab right now. But if you can get like a Pitts, hey, prove it year deal, and then maybe bring back Conklin for like a $4 or $5 million, I don't think that's a bad tight end for 1 year.
I think the free agent tight end route is all right. It's such a good tight end class that I don't want to trade a pick that I could otherwise use it on a tight end, because then I could get 4 years of a cheap tight end with high upside, where Pitts is like you're kind of hoping he turns into something he wasn't in Atlanta. Receiver wise, I agree. Receiver at the top of the draft would be ideal. I don't see a free agent wide receiver out there that's like wide receiver 2 for me.
No, I mean, I do like the idea of maybe a Chris Godwin. Honestly, even though I don't think he's a number 2, he is going to be a free agent. I know he's coming off an injury. Yeah. But I like the idea of maybe like a Godwin. And honestly, call me crazy, if we can go after Lockett and maybe get a Lockett to maybe teach Corley how to be a slot guy.
Yeah. I'm down. I don't know. I guess there's not like the top end second round. Like, I guess for a wide receiver, I'm trying to find some kind of value. And if you're going to have to give like a Lazard-esque contract to one of them, I don't know how on board I want to be on that. Like, I mean, kind of like, I don't know. I want Corley to be the guy. I want like Ted McMillan to be the guy. I want Garrett to be the guy. And I want all the young guys to just be like the rounded out roster and not take snaps away from like any of them. But I would understand. There's only so many holes you can plug in.
And I agree, but I think that Corley could be the gadget guy that we saw even though he dropped the ball before the touchdown that last year. He could be the gadget guy out of the backfield. We can have Lockett in the slot while Corley's honing his craft maybe for the slot. And if we don't get McMillan, I would really like to have a Godwin or somebody like that. Like, I could see a Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Lockett, Corley. That's not bad. And then if we go Tyler Warren, I like that idea as well.
Yeah, I think pass catcher at 7 is good. Like, even if they go with Warren at 7 instead of, you know, Tet, if Tet's off the board, or if they even just choose Warren over Tet, some kind of, like you said, security blanket for the quarterback is just so huge. We don't have any pass catchers outside of Garrett, because Corley, as much as I liked him last year, still a wild card for us.
100%, and that's why I like the idea of a Lockett where he's known to be all around the field and he might be able to help Corley out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I have hope. I think every Jets fan always has hope in the offseason, but you know, I'm not expecting a playoff necessarily, but if Aaron Glenn can at least master what he says and what he's shown already in just the 2 press conferences, you know, I'm not going to take bullshit from the media. I'm going to set the record straight, and we're going to move forward. And if we can do that, that's great. The only downfall I'm worried about is he's going to everything. I'm ready to win right now. I don't think he should have said that, because if we're, you know, 3-2 or 2-3 and we're barely surviving in these games, is people going to want to cut him out because we're not going to win now? So I don't know if he would have necessarily. I know what he meant by saying that. I know the precedent he said, but I'm afraid of
jump down his throat too fast. I mean, it's still the first year. Like, if he's in year 4, like kind of like Salah was, and they start going south, then I think it's more of an issue. But Joe, thank you so much for the call.
Yeah.
You've been
Amen.
ejected from the cockpit. Drive safe, Joe. We got Farrell coming in. What's up, Farrell? Oh, hold on. It says you're muted.
Got me?
Got you loud and clear.
Okay, my man. I see Justin Fields on the Jets.
That's where I think we're going to go.
100%.
I agree.
As far as drafting, it depends on free agency, right? Free agency is going to be the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think? What would be the free agent market as far as, like, are we going to get a veteran quarterback or go someplace else with like a wide receiver?
So I don't think there's a receiver I really want to go with. Like, I like Fields as an option because there's enough like youth there that maybe he can like still have a successful career. Not to mention we just saw Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl. Like, why can't Justin Fields play a similar style of ball to Jalen Hurts?
Right.
And then, you know, from the other positional aspects of free agency, I'm hoping we kind of retain some of our own. Like, it'd be nice to retain Eccles. I'd like to see us bring in a defensive tackle, either the kid from Detroit or Denver. I think you could. I'd want to go a little bit more bargain hunting, I think, in free agency than like spending money that could otherwise go towards some of our young players. So, like, I'd rather see this money, whether it's this offseason or next offseason, like, let's say we roll money over, I'd rather that money go to Garrett or Sauce or Jermaine or even Brees on a franchise tag or something. And then I think you pair those players with like best player available in the draft. And I think, to me, wide receiver and tight end are 2 critical positions that you should be targeting probably in your first 3 picks.
BPA is definitely my opinion as far as draft. But it depends on who you get as far as a veteran quarterback. We need another guy.
Do you want to draft a quarterback too? Or do you think
I would think so. Yeah, I would say
Mm,
like if we got Justin Fields
mm,
and then got Tyler Warren at 7,
mm,
and then sit around for a little while, maybe somebody pops up in the 3rd round, something like
mm,
that. But we don't need a running back. We don't need
mm,
those type of guys. Obviously we're going to need a safety. We're going to need a
mm.
linebacker.
I think
But
safety in free agency is definitely going to happen. Like there's so many good safeties, and Wilkes really likes the safety position. It's just one of those positions that we don't have anyone. We're like, of 4 players that you would potentially have on this roster, I don't know if any of our 4 are coming back. So
the
like,
QB is the situation, and
sure,
everything else will fall behind it,
I completely agree.
right?
Farrell, any last words?
I love you, brother.
Thank you so much. You have been ejected from the cockpit. Farrell, thank you so much. Go back to the main screen. Talk a little football in the chat. See how you guys are going. Let's see, what are we at? We're at the hour mark right now. Let's do, before I hop into the chat, let's do a little Mando read, and then I'll come back to you guys. Some of my takes may stink doesn't mean you guys have to stink. And that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in. Mando reached out and said, Ryan, your team has stunk for a very long time, so we know that you understand what stinking is. And I said, yeah, absolutely. They're like, so bad, in fact, that we think we can smell you through the camera. And I was like, man, that's very aggressive. Thank you. But what do I got to do? They're like, hey, we're going to send you out some product. We want you to test it out. We want you to be honest with your audience. And then if you like it, offer up a promo code. I was like, all right, cool. So they sent me out the starter pack. I got the Mount Fuji deodorant. Really enjoy that. Put that on every day. In the summer, I've got what is known as a chafing problem, like 2 chestnuts over a roasting fire type problem. This stuff can be put on anything. Your feet, your butt crack, your grundle, your armpits, your hands, boobies, rolls, under boobies, anywhere. This stuff is totally safe. And throwing this on the chafing areas, very, very appreciated. It comes with 2 free gifts as well. I chose the bourbon leather body wash. Becca has really liked that, but I think my favorite thing in the pack is honestly the deodorant wipes. I throw this into my to-go bag and I can just freshen up no matter where I am throughout my day. And maybe I was just yelling at a camera underneath some hot lights and I just need to look a little bit nicer, smell a little bit nicer when I walk out of the cockpit here. So guys, if you want to get in on this, I've really enjoyed it. Shopmando.com, promo code JetsTalk. That's shopmando.com, promo code JetsTalk is going to get you $5 off. That's a 40% off savings on their starter pack. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. Mando helps you not stink when your team stinks. They should use that as their new tagline. Rico, Ryan, we seem to think we need a big-bodied X-receiver, but the Lions never had that. They had St. Brown, who plays more like Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams. Not sure. We sure it's not speed receiver they want. I'm down for that. Look, I think a wide receiver 2 is really what we need in any capacity. If that's a possession receiver, if that's a speedy receiver, if that's a go up and get the ball type receiver. Some of it kind of depends on your quarterback too. Like if they're looking for a facilitator of the ball that's going to get the ball out quickly and precisely and like in a spot, then maybe the fast receiver that's going to be to that spot quickest is the way to go. Is there a quarterback that sort of seems similar to what Goff is? Because that's sort of what I would envision the offense looking like. Now, not only that, they took Hooker. Was it 2 years ago now? I think it was 2 years ago. So maybe there's some thought to that play style from a quarterback. Part of me I really would like to see like McCord. Like if you could get me Fields and McCord and Tyrod, and then Travis is just there and you're all kind of like duking it out. I feel like it gives you a lot of cracks at who could potentially come through and doesn't necessarily prevent you from going quarterback in 2026 at the top. And I feel like McCord is the like lightning fast processor that would facilitate the ball quickly, kind of like a Goff. Not very athletic, but like gets the ball out fast. I don't know. Red Bean, Ward, Tet, Carter, Warren. Ward, Tet, Carter, Hunter, Warren, Green are gone. Do you pick Sanders, Graham, or trade out? I would take Sanders. I would take Sanders in that situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Man, that would really I can't say that would suck, but I'm taking Sanders. Unless someone's giving you somewhat of a decent pick. Like if you can get I don't know. We were talking about this on Talking Jets, and Green Bean and Matt both said they'd take the second round pick to trade down. Let's say there's no trade down option available to you. I'd have to really consider why Tom Brady didn't draft, Shedeur Sanders. That would be a big red flag for me. But in this hypothetical situation, I'm taking Sanders. Jackson Dart or McCord in the later rounds and let them sit is ideal if we go that route. I don't think Dart's going to be in that. I think McCord will be a little later. Anthony, I hope we shake the world up and trade to 1 for Ward. I mean, it sets you on a defined path, I guess, right? I don't really want to trade up for Ward. I don't like him that much to do that. I'll get behind it. I'll root for him, but I don't like trading up for a quarterback. Ty says, I honestly don't think Deion would interfere with shit, though. He understands the league and knows his son has to carve his own path. He gave Shedeur the blueprint. Now he has to write his own story. I mean, Shedeur's got a pretty strong personality. Listening to his interviews at the Combine, there's a very defined confidence coming from him. And he doesn't strike me as the person that would be I don't want to say a daddy's, coach's kid kind of situation. Deion very much treats his kids in a different way than the coach's kid, or at least it comes off that way. Maybe I'm reading that wrong, but I do hope he kind of goes before us though. JD, I don't understand why so many people are down on Sanders. They say he's extremely accurate and can read defense and knows where to go with the ball. Yeah, I like Sanders. If Sanders is there, I would go with Sanders. I just don't think he's going to be there. I think he's going 3 to the Giants or 6 to the Raiders. Take a quarterback next year. They look better. I think there's supposed to be 5 guys that are all coming out next year that should be pretty highly touted. I see Josh was saying Arch Manning's not going to come out next year. I don't know if that's true. I think it might dictate if he has a good season and he could be the number 1 overall pick, he would be very silly to go back to college. Unless he wants to dictate where he goes and says oh, I don't like the team that has the first pick. I'm going to, go back to school. He'll have that luxury, I think. But if he's a top guy, he's going to go high and he'll come out. Drew Allar, Nico Lamaliva, Garrett Nussmeier, Lenora Sellers, Cade Klubnik. There's a few guys. Ward will be a top 3 pick. Yeah, I think he goes 1. I really do. Can Trapillo play right tackle? Yes, Trapillo can play right tackle. He's played... Now I'm losing my mind. I think he played left and right tackle and has a little bit of guard experience. Very small amount of guard experience, but a little bit of guard experience. But mainly right tackle. So yeah, he's been my 3rd round pick for a while now. I think he's probably going to go higher than our 3rd. So you might have to consider trading up. But I would be pumped with him. And McCord in the 4th, yeah. If you could sign me up for my ideal draft would be some combination of wide receiver, tight end in the first 2 rounds. If you want to convince me on Warren and then a receiver in the 2nd, or, Tet McMillan or, Fannin Jr. in the 2nd, or any combination like that. Wide receiver, tight end, Trapillo, McCord. I feel like that's a fun first 4 picks. Even though that 4th round pick may not, he may ultimately be a long-term backup. That's entirely possible, and you might be burning that in the 4th round. But you can at least see before you invest heavily into a quarterback and potentially trade up heavily next year for a quarterback. I think that's worth a swing. Sharon, trade back to 12. Pick up an extra second. Pick Warren, then Watts, and Tyleik Williams. Second in the second. Trapillo in the third. McCord in the fourth. Yeah, it's funny. I was just going to bring that up. Like, if you could trade down and still get Warren, like, hopefully the Cowboys want Ginty or something like that, and they want to come up to 7. I'd be on board. I like the idea of trading down. Get more cracks at it, more opportunities. Did you see Rick Spielman was at the Combine? I did not. I did not see that. I saw the picture of, was he in the picture with Aaron Glenn and Muji? And I just didn't notice him? That's possible. Makes sense, though. I'd want him there. If I'm the Lions, trade for Luke Musgrave from the Packers. Really good pass-catching tight end and blocker for a safety blanket. It's such a good draft for tight ends, though. That's the part I get hung up on. Like, I don't really want to I don't want to trade a pick that could be used on a tight end that would otherwise, like, be here. Ty Perk, was it you last time that posted something and Nightbot got pissed at you? Because you got banned again. It's for something that doesn't look like it's that bad. It's not bad at all. He's talking about Lenore Sellers would be a godsend. And for some reason, Nightbot booted you. And Nightbot's going rogue. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm not controlling Nightbot. I got no idea why it's doing that to you. I'm glad it's not timing you out for longer than 5 seconds, but it's super weird. If you could have any quarterback in the league, who would it be? Now, what are you willing to give up for him realistically? Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow, I think would be my two. Josh Allen's up there too. Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen would be my choice. I like Lamar a lot. Like, just, you can't teach that speed. He's got a howitzer for an arm. So, yeah, I would say Lamar or Josh Allen. Call it 3 firsts. Done. You know, I'm very much, I like either one of them. I'd probably say Lamar just because, like, I don't want to give Buffalo 3 first-round picks, but it would be nice not having to go against Josh Allen anymore. Late to the party, says Curly. What's up, Curly? Good to have you in here. Will Howard over McCord. That's fine. I understand people wanting that because obviously Howard stayed at Ohio State, won the championship. McCord dipped out. Not upset with that assessment. Trade back always sounds great, but who are we trading with, and what is that team coming up for? Easier said than done. I think Ginty's the most logical position player, or if a quarterback's there and someone wants to come up. Like, that's the move. If we're going tight end, wide receiver, offensive tackle, quarterback in the first 4 picks, we better crush it in free agency with the defense. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, safety's heavy in defense, so you can go safety's heavy in free agency. So if you could go safety, there's 2 D tackles, one from Denver, one from you got DJ Jones and you got Levi Onquanaru, or however you say his last name, from Detroit. So that solves, you know, the secondary and the line. If you could retain Sherwood, you're done. That's your defense. You know, you probably have Stiggers as like a corner. You know, I'd like to bring back Eccles, but you could I feel like fix your defense relatively logically in free agency. Where offensively, I don't know if I see that. I don't see tight end as a position I want to spend a lot of money on in free agency. Like, you could convince me on bringing back Tyler Conklin. I don't think that's going to cost a whole lot, but I still want to draft tight end in this draft. I still want like someone like a Tet McMillan or a top 2-round wide receiver. And then I'd go I don't want to say bargain hunting on quarterback, but whatever Fields costs, which I think will probably be under $15 million, that would be my my option. Whew. Man, oh man, it's midnight. I did not realize that. I wish we would have had Lamar Jackson. Yeah, when he was coming out, I said I wouldn't mind going that direction. It'd be a ballsy as hell pick. And there was a lot of like people that were nervous because he had more rushing attempts than more rushing attempts than completions, or more rushing attempts than attempted passes, whatever it was. It was like a crazy stat that he had. But you knew he was explosive. Mahomes, 5 first-round picks. Yeah, I mean, if you get, like, the refs with him, sure. I kind of, like, I understand Mahomes, right? Like, he's been in the Super Bowl a zillion times. I just am, like, I don't want to say I'm anti-Mahomes, but I'm, like, you know, the quarterbacks that get the benefit of the penalties all the time sort of irk me. And he gives me, like, Tom Brady whiny bitch vibes sometimes. Josh Allen with the flopping sort of does that, too. I feel like Lamar's, like, a dude. Like, he's going to lead a team and he's going to be like, nah, I'm just like, I'm better than you. And I'm going to do it. Now I just want to see him do it. I want to see him get to the AFC Championship game. I want to see him get to a Super Bowl. The QBs are lined for the Combine tomorrow night. Yeah, what time does it start? I should really, like, make sure I'm paying attention for that. I haven't watched, like, at all this week because I've been so busy with work. I've been just catching recaps and stuff and trying to follow some of the storylines. Curly, off topic, but if you had to choose one for the rest of your life, lose your 2 front teeth and can't replace them, for every time you lose your 2 front teeth and can't replace them for every time you fart. Oh, or every time you fart, you poop your pants. This was a big debate at work tonight. Oh, how big is the poop? I don't want to lose my 2 front teeth. I feel like you could find a way around the poop. Maybe. Diapers, right? Like they make adult diapers. They just won't fart. That's what it would be. I would hold myself back from farting. Unless I was in the bathroom. That's my answer. Done. Curly, the bigger the fart, the bigger the poop. See? I'm just not going to poop. Or I'm not going to fart. So then I'm not going to have to poop. And I'll keep my teeth. Aaron says, I feel like getting some veterans on offensive side of the ball with the new coordinator. Defensive, you could go any route with a more experienced D coordinator, and Glenn with a defensive background. Yeah, 100%. That's what Tigo was trying to say as well. My mindset is the opposite because of where the strengths lie on free agency and where they lie in the draft. And maybe that's a bad way to think of it. Maybe we should just be plugging holes regardless and then just filling out the draft with players that you trust and like. But I would like to believe our offensive staff could develop offensive players. So we'll see. After this draft, we'll have a better understanding of the types of players we want to bring in. Even after free agency, we'll have an idea of like the type of player and the route they might envision themselves going. There's a bunch of tight ends in this class, around 10 draftable. Yeah, there's a lot of really good tight ends. Get me one in the top 3 rounds. And even if you want to double dip on one later on, like if you want a blocking tight end later on and a receiving one early, I'd sign up for that. Ryan, I have a better trade. I would like to trade Jamal Adams straight up for Patrick Mahomes. Yes, Sonny, let's do it. Let's make it happen. If we don't draft a quarterback in the first round, why waste a later pick on one? Just sign a free agent and treat Jordan Travis like a day 3 pick this year. Yeah, and I understand that. If that's the route they go, that's fine. I want Justin Fields in free agency. I like the idea of going like, I don't really want to use a 3rd round pick on one. 4th round is kind of where I would be more accepting, because my thought process is we don't know if Jordan Travis could even be a long-term backup in this league. And if you can take a swing on a quarterback that has high upside in that 4th round and also has long-term backup potential, I think that's all right. it sounds weird, but I shouldn't say it sounds weird, but like, I feel like I want to go best player available. And if they go quarterback, cool. If they don't go quarterback, also cool. Like, I feel like you could get 4 starters on your team through your first 4 picks. Like if you go wide receiver, tight end in the first 2 rounds, then you go with like an offensive lineman or a safety or a linebacker. Like there's guys you could plug in. I'm a big proponent of drafting a kicker late, 6th round, take the best kicker you can. At least you lock him in and you're getting the best one coming out of college. For 4 years, why not? I mean, we're paying so much for Zuerlein, and Zuerlein missed so many kicks this year. Take a gamble. See, Rico, you fart in your sleep, that's a tricky proposition. Yeah, but I'm not out in public. Like if I poop my bed at home in my house, it's a little different. Don't want to do that, though. Waste of a pick is a dumb assumption. Yeah, see, T-Money? I think that's what you're saying, right? I don't think using a pick on a quarterback in the mid-rounds, I agree 3rd is one I don't want to do, but our 4th round pick isn't that much later than our 3rd round pick either. If you could tell me, hey, you got a career backup in your 4th round that's going to come in and win you a game or 2 here and there, with the shot of the guy being a quarterback, like a good quarterback, down to try that. Why not? I guess it depends who else you're passing on. Like if you think you have like a stud, I shouldn't say stud, but a starting caliber, or a linebacker or something there, then maybe you go that route. Trade up Cam, go for broke. I don't want to see that. I don't really want to trade up. David Hecklefish. What's up, Hecklefish? I don't think I've ever used that emoji, but I've seen you use it all the time. Just take Sanders, call it a day. If Sanders is there at 7, I think you make the pick. I think there's enough optimism and like swagger there that it kind of brings a little bit of juice back to the fan base. Certainly a lot worse bloodlines you could go with than Deion Sanders. I just think he's going to go before us. Get the tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warren. Yep, that's going to be a popular fan pick. I like that. The Y-Files just had a new episode tonight. Oh, did they really? I'll have to go back and watch it. I could sit and watch the Y-Files for days. So much fun. Pyramids, Younger Dryas, Hollow Moon. Dude. Fill me with conspiracy theories. I love it. Lizard people, why not? Do the Jets sign Fields and reunite him with Wilson? I hope so. I'd like to see it. What's the most you're willing to give for Cam? 2026. Nah, that wouldn't even make sense. I'd give up our 2nd this year to move up to get the quarterback. Like if they like one. I mean, look, if they really like one, you probably have to give up the 2026 first. I don't want to do it. I'd rather sit there and let one fall to us. Be honest, Ryan. Do you feel we have any possibility to be a win now team, or are you preparing for a punted season? I'm not preparing for a punted season. I think this team's biggest weaknesses last year was our coaching staff, our kicker, 2 things that are very, I shouldn't say easy to turn around, but we've already addressed the coaching staff, and you're going to likely have a new kicker other than Zuerlein. So those are 2 things that can change everything dramatically. And then the next part is like quarterback play. And I think there were a lot of benefits of Rodgers and obviously the touchdowns he had. But I think we lost some games because of Rodgers' inability to move. I think some of his forced interceptions in crunch time towards the end of games were critical. I thought some drives stalled out on the 1 yard line or late that he just couldn't, convert on. And part of that might have just been getting healthy and, having Tyron Smith as your left tackle. So there's some of that. I'm not expecting a lot of wins. I want to go for as many wins as possible, but I'm expecting like maybe a 6-win season, 7-win season. Ace says, I really like Drew Aller from Penn State. Too bad he committed for another year of college. I think he needed another year of college. I like Aller, but he did not look good in the last playoff game I watched with him. Give him another year. Thanks for humoring my silly question. Thanks for the context, dude. Been around since calling Mutt Vials multivitamins days. Of course, Curly. It's funny. When you bring up questions like that, it harkens me back to my high school days. I remember calling into Z100, and my buddies at the lunch table and I in high school were having a conversation over what the perfect diameter size pancake is for a standard pancake. So we're like, oh, let's call into a radio station. Just ask them. And like, I asked them that question and they blocked my number. To this day, I cannot call into Z100. They will not. They've blocked my number. But then I called into WRRV, Hudson Valley, WRRV, alternative rock. And we called into them and we're like, hey, what's the perfect diameter size for a pancake? They said, was it 6 inches or 7 inches? Whatever it was. They answered it and they put us on the radio. I was like, this is great. So I do silly questions all the time. That's all right. I'm glad you're around. I'm going to KO. Good shit tonight, Ryan. Appreciate you, young sir. Ty, thanks for hanging out, dude. There's more options than win now or punt season. Yeah, look, I want to see. I think Tyrod provides us a stable level of like base level quarterback play, and you hope that the coaching staff can grade the rest of the roster before either investing heavily in players that may not fit or they may not like, or investing big dollars in free agency now before having seen the players that we have. So I'd rather go light in free agency, aside from like maybe like safety, because we need that anyway, and go with players they like in the draft, sort of wait and see what happens, and then go into next year. And I wouldn't call that a punted season either. So I agree with Kev here. Do you think 7-win season is a plus for this team? I think a 7-win season next year would be. And I think a lot of it is on the eyeball test and how it looks. I think after losing Rodgers and Devontae, to get to 7 wins would feel more like a win maybe. T100, the channel for moms picking up kids from soccer practice. Back in the day, I feel like it wasn't. DJ Spinbad was pretty sick for a while. I don't know what he's doing now. Had some great mashups. I was a WRRV guy, though. Big alternative rock dude. Brings back memories. Haven't been in New York in a while. Aaron, there is still talent on this team. I feel we can win 9 games looking at the opponents. I felt the opposite way. I mean, I think there's a lot of talent on this team, but I think the opponents are a lot tougher than, at least right now, it appears tougher. A lot of it hinges on the quarterback play, I think. If you had the same quarterback-ish play from Rodgers last year with this coaching staff, I would say, yeah, I agree. It just depends on what you get from there. I was a K-Rock fan until they killed the station. I don't know what channel that would have been. Curly, I don't know if it'll happen this millennia, but I look forward to the day we come to your channel and talk Jets after an actual winning season. Dude, how long have I been covering this team now? I just had the anniversary date of my channel. I think it was 8 years. Am I 8 years now? I started this in 2018. 18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 22, 23, 24. We're now in 25. 7 years? That doesn't seem right. Did I start in 2017? I think I started 2018. 18 was the Darnold draft. The Darnold draft was the first one I did because my first video was why Kirk Cousins should be a New York Jet. Dude, I just want to see a winning season. I really do. Ricky says, I'm like, damn, this dude's streaming late, only to realize that you're on the East Coast. It's even later. I might be the only Jets fan in Santa Barbara, California. All good. Well, I'm glad you're tuning in, dude. Yeah, it's easier for me to stream late at night because the kids are asleep. I've already hung out with the wife. I get my kind of decompressed time. I get to hang out. Aaron, I started watching you when the Jets confirmed Adam Gase was head coach. Dude, when I remember hearing that and just putting my hand like on my head, like, what did we just do? I knew that was bad from the beginning. Ugh. 150 after midnight. We are addicted. Yeah, you guys are nuts. 150 in here. It's after midnight. We're just talking, shooting the shit on Jets. I appreciate you guys being in here. But I think I'm gonna hang it up. I think we're gonna call that a night now. I've been going for what, hour and a half? Yeah, I'm going an hour and a half now. So boys and girls, hit that like button if you enjoy hanging out in the late night stream. I'll probably come on, I would bet Sunday night I'll do something. I think maybe I'll come out with like some shorter videos over the next day or two. But I appreciate you guys coming in here. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.